I've found myself over the last several days very much wrapped up in my mind. And I felt like I should turn the camera on and share with you guys what's been going on. Because I don't think that I'm alone in this. The energies are really too powerful for me to be alone in this. Many of us must be going through this very same battle, and the battle feels very real. The battle between answering the call from our divine spirit to be able to allow ourselves to freely express freely. And I think that's the troublesome part. And I hadn't really realized that until I sat with it long enough and questioned why I've been going back and forth in my head. It's it's this call to allow spirit to 100%, or as much as we're able to at this point. Maybe a little while before we can really get to 100%, but I'd like to be there sooner than later. I think we all would. um, where we really open ourselves up to be a divine channel, and we can feel that creativity is pulling. Something wants to be created through you. Something wants to act through you. And there may be all kinds of questioning going on in your mind. The questions of, can I support myself? How am I able to continue making, money that I need to make that does support me, and still have the time and energy left to be able to answer this divine calling that seems more resonant with who I am than what I've been doing to earn. We may be feeling like what we feel called to do may not be practical in terms of what the world needs, or what would be able to, I guess, if we're looking at, market value, does it have market value? Will people purchase this? Is it something that people really want? I mean, there's all kinds of ways that we can be really questioning whether or not we should be stepping forward. If and can we step forward? And the truth really is in there, and you and I both know it. We know that when we open ourselves up to receive clarity, inspiration, creativity, passion, that we're opening ourselves to receive everything that spirit has to offer us. Spirit's extremely intelligent. Spirit knows that we have, our 3D life to sustain. Spirit is very aware of money, and money is very aware of us. I did a card reading for myself, a spread asking about being able to sustain myself as I move forward with the things that I'm feeling called to do, and create. And the Knight of Wands stood out. Let's see if I can see it here. I shuffled it back into the deck. But the Knight of Wands, I mean, that's powerful energy there. Knight of Wands is Sagittarius energy, so it's about purpose. It's about acting with purpose. Often can be interpreted as a card of recklessness, but I think that is a misinterpretation. It can largely be a misinterpretation. In fact, because the Sagittarius, the archer, is about finding out more about oneself, the philosophy and meanings of self and life, and where that comes together through action and activity. And that's what we're being asked to do. And on the subject of money, when the Knight of Wands appeared, I was given a very clear message, and that message was, when you act from passion, money will come to sustain the fire. Money comes to sustain the fire. Your higher self wants you to have momentum and trust. I think that let's go back to that word of momentum just a little bit. When we get ideas, sometimes we feel the pressure of the idea and how we're going to make it happen. But that how also comes from spirit. It comes from that inspired action. There are many people that are offering spiritual messages, and it can give those who are creating wonderful things in the world, coming up with fantastic inventions and breakthroughs that can support society in new ways, and we can have a better life. And that can give an idea that it's an easy process, that it just happened to them. But I can tell you it didn't. I can tell you that momentum is necessary in order for spirit to act through us. We have to be in a position of allowing the idea to come in and then enjoy having that idea and then seeing what's possible through that idea and then be given the inspiration on how to take the first steps. And then remember to not get overwhelmed with the details and remember to stay in the energy of enjoying receiving ideas. This is a clear path to how we create. And that path does not include us inundating ourselves with how it should look and the pressure to make it happen. Spirit says, I know you. I've surveilled your 3D world. I know what the world needs for the next best thing. And I know what your role can be in this based on what you like, based on who you really, really are. And when you allow yourself to have that freedom of expression, and I think that we're getting better at that. Sure, we are getting much better at that. But I don't think that we truly feel safe in it just yet for all of the reasons that we can come up with. Does it have the earning capacity? Do I have the energy? Do I have all of the answers? Do I know how this is going to play out? Essentially, we're asking, is it safe? Is it safe? Spirit is our safety net. Our higher consciousness is our safety net. Through my personal journey, through my awakening journey over the last several years, what I've come to understand is that it is over and over and over a perspective shift, a perspective change. And when I say perspective change, I'm exactly, precisely describing this higher self collective current that is available for all of us. Our higher self lives in a frequency of a perspective that's true in terms of the higher truth, universal truth, the truth of why you're here. And you're here to be the receiver of those ideas. I'm here to be the receiver of those ideas. And when we find ourselves overwhelmed with the task of following through on the inspiration or the idea, I've come to understand, and I'm not saying that it's easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. It's about recognizing that you are in a battle with yourself. You're in a battle of trying to make spirit fit into your programming, or your programming fit into spirit. This simply recognizing that that battle is the one existing is an enormous amount of relief. This is the battle of the higher consciousness, right? It's the battle of trusting yourself, trusting the real you, trusting the inspiration. But I have found that the key for me has been able to give credit where credit is due. The idea that felt so good came from my higher self, because my higher self knows what's needed and knows who I am and knows my path of happiness and abundance and joy, all the things, creativity and adventure and fun. My higher self knows that path, and yours does too. So let's give credit where credit is due. The idea came from spirit. The idea came from the part of you that will always exist, and the part of you that decided to come here to this planet to be a creator. And then remember to continue to allow spirit to be open. You don't have to push, you don't have to force, you don't have to hustle to make it happen. It is literally the act of allowing yourself to be open with a quiet mind and an open heart and joy for life itself that lets the energy move through you and act and create through you each step of the way. And in truth, this is really a refining process. It's a very spiritual. It is strength through fire, right? But it is a divine process of truly getting to know the real you, of having a solid, firm, stable, I mean, talk about confidence. And we're able to be in that place of knowing ourselves. I mean, written on ancient temple, like the first one of the who is it? Aristotle, Socrates. I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. Know thyself. Know thyself. And the reason why know thyself is so important and becomes the reward for giving credit to spirit and letting spirit act through you is because that is what you've been seeking all along. It's what you've been looking for. It's what will fill that hole or that void. It is the most fascinating, the most delicious, the most, I don't even know if there's words, exquisite. It's the most juice. It's the most anything that you can get in this life is having a deep, profound, trusting relationship with yourself. And when you give credit to spirit, you allow spirit to act through you, and you do this without defending yourself, without trying to get people to hear or understand you. They don't need to understand you. You don't need to be validated from them. You're validated by the succession of warm, uplifting emotions. And that, again, the deepening of the relationship, the softening. That's one thing that I can definitely attribute to this higher self collective and the act of being open to allow spirit to move through us and higher self to move through us, create through us, is there's a softening of edges. And that doesn't mean weakness. It just means that we get to be less and less and less harsh and sharp with ourselves and our judgment to ourselves. I just wanted to come on and say that if you're feeling this, you're not alone. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling raw. I'm feeling like it's time to take another step in a direction of of freedom of expression of true self. In fact, one of these calls is to share more with you guys about this book that I'm writing. And because it's been in here and I feel like it needs to be expressed. And that book is all about how I've come to gain a higher perspective, gain the same insight as my higher self has on different subjects. That's liberated me over and over and over again. But I do feel like it creates this vulnerability. It is about allowing myself to make space for that creativity versus the grind, versus the hustle. I can find myself definitely being in a state of worry and concern if everything is going to be able to be, all of my responsibilities are going to be met. But one thing I do know, and I've seen over and over and over again, you guys, and I'm required to apply this again now for myself, is that when we open ourselves up to allow truly open and let spirit create through us, we are now in what's called the receiving mode. We are now open to receive all of the blessings and the things that have come from being really open. I wouldn't call them miracles, the manifestations that have come through, manifestations of things that I've desired, things that I've forgotten I wanted, things that turned out even better than I would have, if I was the one, which I am the one that decides what the manifestation is that I want. But, if left to completely left to my human self, it wouldn't be nearly as good as what my higher self has been able to deliver to me. And all I really had to do was to be open and let spirit create through me. To allow more space in places that I have been closed off. To allow light to come in. And I've been on this journey for a number of years, and I have, stepped into the ring with my shadow over and over and over and over again to do the work. But it's when we allow ourselves to be uplifted, when we let ourselves be in a state of joyful creation, that's when we're able to see, how we're letting the light in. That's when we're able to see the higher perspective that banishes the shadow, not because not to demonize the shadow, not because it was wrong, but essentially not be living from that shadow place, not be unconsciously creating or unconsciously living, having these beliefs that don't serve. I guess what we're doing is we're dispelling rather than maybe banishing our shadow. What's really happening here is dispelling beliefs that were birthed from that shadow. And really, okay, let's go just a step further. Let's take it a step further, because when we're looking at how the higher self views this, is the higher self is sending us a message 100% of the time, always, about the truth of who you are and the truth of what's possible for you. But if you're living in that state of shadow, the message is going to be so distorted because it will be on the same frequency as the shadow. So the shadow isn't wrong. The shadow is a frequency of a diminished or distorted or diluted version of the pure message that your higher self was sending. And as you raise your vibration higher and higher and higher, allowing yourself to be uplifted by quieting your mind, meditating into a peaceful place, and then letting yourself act from that place, or letting spirit act through you. So it's enjoyable. Yeah, it's an evolution of self. We're growing. We're in a stage of humanity of huge awakening. And we know 2025, 2026, or 2032 are going to be extremely pivotal, massive shift. We've been amping up for this for quite some time. And now it's here. And what do you think? How do you think that shift is going to take place? It's not through somebody else. It's through you over and over and over again, answering the call and choosing the higher perspective over the program. Over what you think needs to happen versus what can happen. Basically, I just wanted to come on and tell you guys that you're not alone. And if this message hits for any of you, if it lands in a way that helps you feel seen, I'd love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. Spirit adores you, always has, and always will. And I love you too. Take care of yourself.